Welcome back to the channel, homebrewers. As you can see, I'm in the brew school today. I've got a G30 fired up here and I'm at the boil. And the reason is that I'm making some beer. In fact, I'm making a Belgian Wit so that I can put to the test a brand new yeast strain from our good friends at WHC, Belgian Haze. So to put this brand new yeast from WHC to the test, I'm brewing up a Belgian Wit beer today, and it's loosely based on a clone recipe for Hoegaarden White. Now this beer style is distinctive from a wheat beer and it heralds from the Hoegaarden area in Belgium. Super cloudy in appearance, lightly spiced, and we're going to be using a couple of spices and flavourings in this beer to give it a really traditional feel. There should be a really nice light malt and wheat sweetness to the beer as well when we see it in the glass. Hints of citrus, and as I said, a little bit of distinctive spice that is also to be driven slightly from the yeast strain that's going to hopefully be pushing a few nice interesting phenolic factors such as clove in the finished glass, but not in an overpowering way whatsoever. So I said we're going to be using spices and flavourings. We're going to be adding some bitter orange peel to this beer and also some coriander, which again is traditional for the style and just complements the overall finished kind of phenolic factor to the beer and that light citrus note, which we absolutely adore in the style. Distinctive for a really nice pillowy kind of rocky head on top as well. I can't wait, and it's the perfect beer style as we head into the autumn to just keep us thinking of slightly warmer days, but also with a nod towards those more autumnal vibes. Now for the recipe of this, there's 4 overall ingredients in the malt bill. We're going to be using 33% of Crisp's German Pilsen malt to give us the malt backbone that we want in the beer. That's then going to be balanced with another 33% of wheat malt to really kick off that whole wheat character that we're looking for. We're going to have around 17% of flaked oats in there as well to increase that body and mouthfeel and really give us that lovely hazy appearance that we expect from the style. And then for the final 17%, it's even more wheat, but this time we're using torrefied wheat, which is an unmalted version of wheat. I'm going to be aiming for a gravity of 1050 to start with a view that the beer should finish around about 1011, which is going to give us around about 5% ABV, which is bang on target for the style. Now bitterness for the style is fairly low, around about 15 IBUs, which again allows all the other ingredients to really shine through and give us a slightly sweeter presenting beer in the glass. We're going to be using 20 grams of East Kent Goldings at 60 minutes and then 17 grams of SARS that's going to be added 15 minutes before the end of the boil. Now in terms of the flavourings that we're going to be adding, those are going to go in at flame out, and then we're going to just leave them in there, give it a bit of a stir whilst we transfer the wort into the fermenter. That should give us just enough in the way of character from the orange peel and the coriander without it becoming too dominant or overpowering the rest of the ingredients. At the beginning of brew day, I filled up my Grainfather G30 with 18 litres of strike water with a view that I was going to be mashing at 67 degrees. I then had 14 litres of sparge water in the Grainfather sparge water heater above, treated both of them with an appropriate water profile, which was actually one of the ones that was generated by the Grainfather software, just adjusting our local tap water here, obviously including sodium metabisulfate to just get rid of any chlorine out of it. We're going to be using 1 packet of the new Belgian Haze yeast strain from WHC. We're going to be fermenting it around about the middle of the range, which is around about 21 degrees. That's going to allow the yeast to express some of the phenolic character that we want without it getting too crazy if we were to push the temperatures even higher. Now WHC say that Belgian Haze will give us a blend of some slight phenolics, a little bit of spice, and help us accentuate citrus, zesty, lemon and orange notes in the beer. So I'm really excited to see how this turns up, because one of the other things they say is that it doesn't lower the pH too much of the fermented wort, which can be the case with some of the other kind of Belgian Wit yeast strains, which is going to mean that the beer isn't going to become tart in any way, or maybe just remain a little bit more rounded. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how it shapes up at the end. And I'm going to try and get my hands on a bottle of Hoegaarden White as well, so we can try it side by side with the real thing. So without further ado, I'm going to head back over to the brew school, finish getting the wort made and transferred into the fermenter, and I'll see you on the other side of fermentation to see just how this yeast has performed, well, and also how I've done as a home brewer trying to replicate a famous beer such as Hoegaarden White. to the other side of fermentation, brewers, and I am very pleased to say that not only has Martin joined me to test out this fantastic Belgian Wit, but we have 2 glasses of absolutely glorious looking Belgian Wit, don't we, Martin?
It looks really, really good, you know, refreshing.
Yeah.
I really want to get stuck into it.
Are you really that excited though? Because, you know, actually you've got a little bit of a story about Belgian Wit, haven't you? Judging, what, 100 Belgian Wits?
You're not going to bring that up. It used to be one of my favourite beer styles, and it was absolutely ruined by a competition we did where we literally tasted 100 of them, and I've not really touched it since. And I used to love Hoegaarden a lot.
Well, hopefully this will redeem it for you. So first off, let's have a little look. I mean, in terms of appearance in the glass, it's looking pretty good, isn't it? As you'd expect, lots of haze, nice orange hue to it.
If you didn't know any better, you'd think this was a juicy banging New England IPA, basically.
Yeah.
But I guess the grain bill is very similar in that it's very heavy with oats and wheat.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go in and have a little sniff, shall we? Ooh. Oh man, what are you getting?
Little bit of spice on the nose, you know, but I'm also getting a little bit of orange. I'm guessing that's coriander and bitter orange that's in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Coriander, bitter orange peel, but also the yeast is definitely driving that lovely sort of spicy, almost clove-like aroma that you get from this beer style.
Can we taste it?
Yeah, let's go in. Cheers.
Cheers. That's delicious.
Oh, man, that is absolutely glorious. Like the sweetness is there that you'd expect, that because you've got quite low IBUs in the beer, so there is a bit of sweetness in there, but you expect that from this beer style, don't you?
Yeah, you're getting sweetness to start, but then it rounds off and it's like drying on the back of your tongue type of thing. It's making me want more.
Yeah, and that is partly due to how the yeast for this kind of beer style works, because it does lower the pH, although Belgian Haze doesn't lower the pH as far as some of the other Belgian Wit yeast strains can do. So it gives it that almost like slightly tart kind of feeling on your tongue.
I'm really getting the orange as well on it. I can really taste that.
Just need a slice of orange in there, maybe.
I think that's Blue Moon. I think Hoegaarden, you normally put a slice of lemon in.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's not going to last long if I keep holding that glass. It's really, really moreish.
It is, isn't it? Do you know what I really enjoyed about brewing this beer as well? I mean, from a brew day perspective, it was a simple brew day, you know, no complex whirlpools or, you know, no huge amounts of hops going in. Yeah. So it was a really straightforward brew day. Make the work. Yeah, you add the coriander and the orange peel, but you add that at flame out, and then you just start transferring into the fermenter from there.
And literally, once you've pitched your yeast, there's nothing else really to do other than just leave it to do its job.
Yeah, no dry hop, nothing. And I fermented this in our fermentation chamber over there. It was done fermenting really quickly. I think probably 5 days maximum. Then I ramped it up to 23 degrees just to do a diacetyl rest, and then transferred it out. I didn't bother taking the yeast off or anything like that.
You haven't got to worry about trying to clear it out.
No dry hop, no cold. Well, no sort of having to clear the beer. I did do a cold crash, but no like extended cold crash to get loads of hops out of the beer or anything. And
simple, easy beer.
Really simple, really easy, but really, really enjoyable. What we need to do now though, Martin, is try it side by side against the real thing to see just how I've managed to get on. Right, here we are, Martin. I have a wonderful 750 milliliter bottle of Hoegaarden.
Do you want me to get any work done this afternoon?
Well, you're going to Germany tomorrow on your holiday, so it doesn't really matter. Right, let's get this cracked open.
Did you get any pork scratching?
No.
There's
pork scratchings.
Wow, that colour is really close, isn't it?
Yes, now Hoegaarden White is widely available, but it is also one of the most famous examples of a Belgian Wit, I think. Certainly in my experience, I don't know about you, Martin, but it's just something that I remember drinking lots of over the years.
That is so close. Now, obviously, this is freshly poured out, and this has been through the first part of the tasting.
Well, it's been around your mouth, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there is so much in the way of similarity. I would say on the nose, I'm getting a little bit more orange from the real thing.
Yep, maybe slightly.
But the clovey sort of spiciness is definitely similar, isn't it?
Right, I'm going in for the taste.
Yeah, me too. Oh, well, hang on. You taste it. I think appearance-wise, they're pretty much spot on as well. The real thing is a little bit brighter. It's still hazy, but it's you can see the light from our light here while we're filming through it, whereas this one you can't. So what's your thoughts then, having tasted them side by side?
I can see what you're saying in terms of slight variation in colour and opacity of it, or the clarity of the beer. Side by side tasting, it's really difficult to favour one over the other. They're very, very close. If anything, I'd say probably slightly more carbs than yours.
Yeah, I think ours is slightly less carbonated. The other thing I'd say is that the real thing is a touch drier, or maybe I'm perceiving it incorrectly, but maybe our one has a touch more body. So pleased with that, but I reckon I could tweak the water profile alone on the homebrew version.
Dry it out a little bit more.
Dry it out a little bit more, and you'd get much closer in terms of that kind of mouthfeel. But they're super close, super duper close.
Again, it's at this point, literally just picking out like the slightest margin of difference. Maybe a little bit more orangey on theirs. I don't know.
Yeah, but
it's minute.
I think if you were brewing this at home and presenting it to people as a Belgian Wit, it's a Belgian Wit. There's no two ways about it.
Both really thoroughly enjoyable beers to drink, and I think I could just finish them all off right now. And that bottle.
Now, I'm incredibly pleased with how this clone has turned out. I think it's another one where we've got super close to the real thing, and actually this was our first go at brewing it here at Malt HQ, so I'm really pleased with it. If you want to have a go at brewing this recipe, actually there's a link in the description below. We've put it up as a recipe kit where you can grab all of the grain, all of the hops, the flavourings, but also it comes with a sachet of the fantastic new Belgian Haze yeast from WHC.
James, I've got a confession to make. I was that excited about this kit and this yeast. I've actually already sent one of these out to the guys who do the Oyster Boys channel. So Mark and Penny will also be brewing this and tasting it. So if you guys don't believe us and how close this is and how good a beer it is, go and check out their channel.
Martin, it continues to blow my mind how innovative the folks at WHC are in terms of the dry yeasts that they're bringing out and making available to home brewers. I think it just furthers that whole thing we've been talking about recently in some videos where, you know, you want to brew very specific styles. Previously, that was something that meant that you had to pick liquid yeasts. Now you've got the choice. You can choose liquid yeasts or you can choose dry yeasts and have some amazing experiments at home in your next brew.
Yeah, I really want to try this yeast on a few more different beers there as well. I'd really like to try it on a Belgian pale to see if you can get some of those phenolics that you want in there. But yeah, these guys aren't standing still with their yeast development. And I know there's a whole load of new ones coming out, probably starting next year as well.
Yeah, mate, I'm really keen to have a go at brewing a Belgian IPA using this.
That'd be a really good shot.
Yeah, dry hopped with like some classic West Coast hops, you know, Centennial, Cascade, maybe a bit of Simcoe, but then you underneath that hop character, you've got that fantastic phenolic yeast profile in there as well. Could be super interesting and something to try out, certainly during this time of year. Now, if you've got any questions about this beer, this recipe, or anything else we've covered in this video, drop it down in the comments section below. I will come back to you. I love seeing all the comments and I'd love to hear your feedback. Equally, if you're not already, do subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help us.
And don't forget, you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and do you still do your dancing on TikTok?
Every time. Yes, you can also follow us on TikTok. Right, on that note, you need to get some work done before you go off to Germany tomorrow. So I'm going to sit here and finish all 4 of these glasses.
No, I think I'm going to take that bottle with me.
Have a great brew. Cheers. Now I'm incredibly pleased.